So, good day everyone. So, I will continue with my report, which is the lesson 2 entitled The Legal Classifications of Evidence. So, in legal classification of evidence has its ability to establish fact and dispute of an evidence, wherein it has two abilities, the direct evidence and the circumstantial evidence. So, in a direct evidence, it is which proves the fact in dispute without the aid of any inference or presumption. Or in short, it is the evidence that being presented corresponds to precise or actual point at issue. Or mauni siya ang evidence na ipakita as a proof na it links to the issue of a crime. So next is the circumstantial evidence. So in a circumstantial evidence, it is the proof of facts or facts from which taken either singly or collectively. It is a existence of a particular fact and dispute may be inferred or unnecessary in a probable cause. So in our circumstantial evidence, it must be requisite, must be present before a circumstantial evidence. So there are sufficient of for conviction. There must one circumstances, a facts from which the inference are derived or proven. And also it is a combination of all circumstances is such as to produce a conviction beyond reasonable doubt. So next is a degree of value in establishing a dispute or fact of an evidence. So in a degree, it has a 4 evidences. Starts with a prima facie evidence, which these are the evidence that suffices for the proof of a particular fact until contradicted by other evidence. In short, these are the evidence that may show a proof of a particular truth until contradicted to another. So next is a conclusive evidence, wherein a conclusive evidence, it is a incontrovertible or one which the law does not allow to be contradicted, or it is a insurmountable evidence. So next is a corroborative evidence. Corroborative evidence, these are the evidence or a different kind and character as that already given and tend to prove the same proposition. Or these are the evidence that shows different kinds of character that be proved in a proposition. Next is a cumulative evidence. So in a cumulative evidence, it is the same and kind character as that already given and tend to prove the same proposition. So in a cumulative evidence, it is the difference, the difference of a corroborative evidence. So next is the weight and the acceptability of an evidence. So there are two weight and acceptability of an evidence, which is the primary or best evidence, and also the secondary or the substitutionary evidence. So a primary or a best evidence, it is a evidence that affords the greatest certainty of the fact in a questions. In short, it is the greatest fact that can answer to a question. Next is the secondary or the substitutionary evidence. So secondary or substitutionary evidence, it is the inferior to primary evidence and admissible only in the absence of the latter. So next is the nature of an evidence. So in a nature of evidence has its object evidence, wherein it is addressed to the senses of the court and is applicable of being exhibited to be examined or viewed by the court. Or in short, it is a evidence or a material that being given to a court that could be examined to solve a crime. Next is a documentary evidence. So in a documentary evidence, it is a evidence that supplied by written instrument or derived from conventional or symbols and letters. So this documentary evidence, it is a evidence that is being a material that being represented. It gives ideas to the court. So next is the testimonial evidence. So in a testimonial evidence, it is a evidence that either verbal or oral. So it is an evidence which consists of the narration or disposition by one who has observed. Or in short, it is the testimony of a person which is there in a crime that kanang makita niya na unsa ang panghitabo sa crime. That is a example of testimonial evidence na maghatag siya og testimony given on what is happening or unsa ang nahitabo sa crime. Positive evidence, wherein this is a evidence that exists if the witness affirms that a fact did or not occur. Sure, in short, as a witness, mo ni siya magpamatuod na ikaw na kay knowledge kung unsa ang nahitabo sa crime. Imong presence is naa sa scene na ikaw mismo na ay knowledge kung unsa apang hitabo. So next is a negative evidence, wherein this evidence exists if the witness states that he did not see or know of the occurrences of a fact that there is total disclaimer of personal knowledge. So in short, being a witness, ikaw a witness, wala ka kabalo sa paghitabo na you have no knowledge of what is happening in the crime. So next is a quality of an evidence. So a quality of evidence, it has its relevant evidence, wherein a relevant evidence has a relation to the fact in issue as to induce belief in its or non-existence. In short, it is a belief sa witness na nag-exist or wala siya nag-exist. So next is a material evidence. So a material evidence, this evidence to prove the fact in issue and is determined by the rules of substantive law or the rules of court. So in short, ang material evidence mo ni siya mga gamit na makaprove sa court na kani siyang material is nagamit sa crime. So next is the admissible evidence. So admissible evidence, these are the evidence that is admissible if it is relevant to the issue and it is not excluded by the rules of court. In short, mauni siya ang connected sa issue or connected into the crime and also excluded sa rules of the court. So next is the credible evidence. So a credible evidence, these are the evidence that is credible if it is not only admissible evidence but also believable and used by the court as in deciding cases. So in short, mo ni siya ang evidence that can prove na believable or believable in a way na sila mutuo na part siya sa crime and may use to the court as they decide the cases. So those are the ability to establish a fact and dispute on evidence as a part of the lesson 2, the legal classifications of evidence.